Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
Like, I'm angry since the start of the war, but when I see you guys, I'm like, I have the hope. Thank you so much, really, thank you. On behalf of my family in Gaza, on behalf of my friends, my relatives, thank you for being here, for remembering the place, you know, calling for a ceasefire, because this is what they want. They don't want food, they don't want water, despite the cut. When I talk to them, this is what they want, ceasefire. When will there be a ceasefire? We are tired, we cannot take it any longer. Today I managed to speak to my niece, and I asked her, how is it different from the previous attacks? Because we had 4 wars on Gaza before. And then she said, this time we feel each one of us is a target. This time Israel is not notifying before bombing an apartment. That is the difference. The magnitude of the civilians being killed is like immense. You cannot, you know, nobody can comprehend, even you. I mean, destruction is unbelievable. You know, I come from a neighborhood, that was my childhood, where I was born, raised, next to the Shifa hospital that you are hearing about. And my sister, she told me, you will not recognize our neighborhood, our beautiful neighborhood, not far from the Mediterranean. It's really hard for me to comprehend that this is happening with a green light from the international community, the US and some countries, and sadly our country here. You know, like we have in The Hague, they are so proud, these politicians. We are located in the city of justice. We have the International Criminal Court. But I'm sorry, you know, what kind of policy? You give the green light for what? Genocide, for killing all these children with a green light, and we cannot argue with that. That is like, that is a fact. Civilians in Gaza are terrorized, the children are terrorized, the women, everybody is terrorized. They hate it when the night comes. They hate the night because Israel terror takes place at night, and it's really something they cannot tolerate. My teacher, my music teacher, I'm gonna stop looking at my notes. I think I can talk from my heart because I feel so comfortable with you guys. I think it's the power of music, which I haven't had the chance to listen since the beginning of the war. My music teacher during my elementary, Basis Hall, she was killed 2 days ago. And she was an amazing teacher. She's the one who taught me how to love music. She was killed in her apartment. They showed her apartment, and she was left alone, bleeding for 24 hours. The Red Cross could not make it because Israel is not letting them go to the places. I just want you to ask yourself why has it reached this stage? And this is what I want to emphasize. It has reached this stage because of the failure of the diplomacy, of the political process. They have failed, and there was no process that called for equality, and that is the root for the problem. So what are we left with? And what are the Israelis and the Palestinians and the international community is left with? Several options. One of them, for Israel to accept that they are an apartheid system and to be proud of apartheid at this century. Let them, you know, be proud. And this is what they want? Is that what the international community want? The second one is, which I don't understand, in other conflict, you have US and the international community impose a solution like they did in Kosovo. Why couldn't they do it? Because Israel is above the law? Is that what they are telling us? So two-state solution is one of the options, but they did not enforce it, and that's why it failed. And the third option, which is equal rights for all, one state for all. And that is, I think, when they say from the river to the sea, this is what they are calling for. One country for everyone, equal rights for all. But what Israeli policies have done and what they are creating on the ground is like what they are pushing the world to want is to bring the PA on an Israeli tank, something that will lead to more bloodshed that won't be accepted by the Palestinians unless they want to impose it as it is. There is, something I want you to, I don't get it here. I really don't get it. These political parties, the Dutch political parties that are against immigration, okay, respect, they don't want refugees. But how in hell they do not vote against the war? Something I really don't get. I don't get it. How come they didn't vote at the United Nations for a ceasefire? If you are against immigration, okay, but why are you pro-war? What brings the refugees but wars? That's 101 logic. I don't get it. I really don't get it. And then we have it's not controversial if you criticize Israel. It's not controversial. It shouldn't be controversial if you criticize apartheid system. But then they, this is the thing, they throw it at you. You are anti-Semitic. That is not accepted. Anti-Semitism is racist and we are against. But anti-Zionism, it's something else. If you criticize the government policies, it is freedom of expression, and we have to keep reminding everyone of that. Another point, whoever mentioned the word, if anyone to tell you, oh, it's a complicated conflict, tell them, fuck off, it's not complicated. It's so clear what happened. We have to understand what happened in the 48, and I don't want to go because I think you are amazing, amazing generation, and I'm so impressed by the young generation. And you know what, the key, why you are so exposed? Because it's the social media. For example, what's happening in Gaza? None of the international mainstream media is in Gaza now, and they are not feeling that they have the duty to tell their audience every day that we are absent from the ground. So at the end, they're reporting. The narrative of the Israeli side is extremely, you feel it. They did a great job. They even live in Tel Aviv. They live in the Israeli narrative. So it's so clear, you feel it. They colored it with all the human elements. When it comes to the Palestinian elements, none is there. And that's why Gaza is only covered as a news item. And we are relying on images coming from cameramen and photographers, and thanks to them, and thanks to all these young Palestinians who are using their phones to tell us what's happening. Without them, we know zero, and we only rely on international mainstream media that feeds us with only the element they want. Now they are pushed forward to cover more elements. What else I would like to talk about? I'm sorry, I'm a bit shaky, and this is what's happening because of. Oh, am I done?
No, I thought I'll help you. Yeah.
But really, this is the first time I'm smiling even, and today. Yesterday and today, my mother ran out of her medication. And this is the thing, the crazy thing, when the Israelis they are killing now. When they say displacement of Gaza city, this is the middle class. Those are people like, who are educated, have careers, work, and they do, like my nephews, they took a mortgage from a bank to buy 2 apartments, to get married, to have a life. Both apartments, boom, done. They have 10 years to pay the mortgage for the bank. So these are like stories of these like young people like you that we don't listen to. Like my mother ran out of her medication, and I'm like, how in hell I'm gonna get her the medication from here? The taxi driver I know who used to work with me when I used to be a reporter, his house is destroyed completely, like bombed by Israel. And someone who used to help her, his house in Jabalia refugee camp, completely destroyed. So it's like, and many people, like when they say, oh, go and move to the south, as if the south have apartments, to rent. And as if you can go booking and find a place to stay. I'm like, it's not like that. The South is extremely poor. It cannot take that capacity. And also, many people didn't have a place to go there. So what they did, they share. So you have like 6 families in one apartment. And you are lucky if you find a place to go and to share with. And they are living a very primitive life, like there is no electricity, there is no, like they are trying to get water out of wherever, they are going back to like the Stone Age. So I'm sorry to bother you with this, but please, when you vote for a party that called for ceasefire. Vote for a party that respects international law, that does not say international law, like you cannot be selective when it comes to implementation of international law or human rights. You cannot be selective. Oh, we can implement. Look at their position when it comes to Ukraine versus Palestine. It's a joke. It's like really like oh, cutting water in Ukraine. What did the EU woman say? It's terrorism. For Gaza, nothing. It's allowed, because Israel is above the law, and I find this racist. Please vote for a party that calls for international law, that calls for ceasefire. I really love you, and I was impressed by a young Dutch girl. I asked her, how did you learn? What makes you come here? I am really amazed, a very young 16-year-old. And I said, what made you come here? And she said, I learned about it first from Instagram, and then she did her own study. She studied the history. And her friends, when they tell her, oh, but it's Hamas, as if Gaza is fucking Hamas, for God's sake. I mean, so it's like, this is what the propaganda. What is 20%? Like maximum what Hamas will get is maybe 25% of any vote. That's what they got. But what about the silent majority? People like you, like me. Why to pay the price? That's what my nephew told me today. Why are we paying the price for something that we didn't do? And remember, we have a blockade for 16 years imposed on 2.3 million. So this is like, and what do you expect? I mean, it's amazing how they maintained, survival, in a place. And what made Gaza always survive is the social fabric is extremely, extremely strong. People help each other. It's a Mediterranean culture, it's amazing how they are they are really helping each other. And that's what makes the place go on. So, one last thing, just remember always that 0.5% of the population of Gaza is children, is under 16-year-old, That's the population. What do they know about life? Is a blockade. Very tiny number managed to leave the place from time to time. And how can they be different unless they are exposed to the war? That's the thing. Thank you so much. I love you.